Culpeper Town Council member John Russell's post on his personal Facebook page was screen grabbed by critics before he took it down. Since it's now been widely shared, he gave permission for us to show it to you. Quote, patriots have breached the barricades at the U.S. Capitol, Russell posted as he shared video of events he was monitoring online from home. Here's his explanation today.
I think it's just symptomatic of today's politics, right? The president calls his supporters patriots. Those of us who support the president call ourselves patriots. And so when referencing the day's activities from the rally, to call someone a patriot is just the term of endearment for those of us who are in the movement.
So, Kit, should this post be interpreted as support for the ralliers who turned into rioters?
If a patriot breached the doors of the U.S. Capitol building and went in illegally, they have lost their patriot status. They are not patriots as far as I'm concerned. They are lawbreakers.
Later, Saturday, Russell signed on to a statement from the Culpeper Town Council. Quote, we do not condone the actions displayed at the Capitol, and calling on the community of Culpeper to stand together to protect our democratic ideals.
Nobody's buying this. These people, they're just shameless.
Critics are outraged. Here's Mike McClary, a West Point grad and Vietnam vet active in county Democratic politics.
I think he should resign from the town council. There was nothing patriotic about any of those people down there. They were incited to violence by the president. He was responsible for it. They were willing participants. They should all go to jail.
Russell points out Culpeper is overwhelmingly Trump country, and he's representing the interests of his constituents. Russell says he continues to stand by the president, and he will not resign from the town council or end his bid for mayor. Scott Broom, WUSA 9.